Hey everyone, my name's Ali and welcome back to my channel, Mindful Living. In today's video, I'm taking you guys outside on my 84 square foot balcony garden to show you exactly how all of my plants have been growing throughout the month of June. If you're new here, I grow on my balcony every spring, summer, and fall. I love plants, gardening, growing my own food, and just finding joy in the ordinary moments. If any of that interests you as well, make sure to hit that red subscribe button as I upload new videos every week. I updated you guys on my container garden back in May, and a lot has changed since then, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first plant I'm showing here is my zucchini plant. If you guys missed my full video on growing zucchini in containers, that was the last video I uploaded, so make sure to go back on my channel and check it out if you want more details on how to grow zucchini in containers. I've had really good luck so far. This is my first year growing them, and this is a Ford Hook bush variety of zucchini. And yeah, this is what it looks like right now. I've already harvested a few zucchinis off of it, and there's a few more growing right now, so I'm curious to see how many I'm gonna get this season. Okay, next up is my blueberry bush, and this is replacing my blackberry bush if you've been following along on my channel. This is a jelly bean variety of blueberry, and I just transitioned it into its big container, so we'll see if we get any harvests at the end of the season this year. I did have a lot of flowers on it, as you can see in this photo here, but a lot of them did fall off, and I didn't see any turn into blueberries just yet, but it is starting to get larger and stretch out in its container. So I'll make sure to do an update around this further in the season. Next up is my 2 tomato plants, and these are growing really well so far. I actually had an extra seedling, so I decided last minute to do a third one. So I am actually growing 3 different tomato plants, all the same variety this year. This is the third one I was just talking about, and it's a little slower than the other 2. Obviously I planted it later, but my first 2 have tons of flowers popping up. I already have a few tomatoes growing, which I'll show you in just a second here. I always make sure to prune the suckers on my tomato plant so those grow in the joints of the plant. Make sure that you're pruning those and don't let them continue to grow on the plant, as it will take away from the overall fruit production. Moving on to sugar snap peas. So this is a dwarf variety. It only grows to about 3 feet tall, and it has already grown to the very top of its trellis here. And I just started to kind of loop those back around so it didn't continue to grow up. And tons of peas popping up. I'm just showing here a little bit of a close-up. I find a lot more are growing towards the middle and top half, so a lot more flowers have started to pop up near the bottom. Next up is my Tiny Tim cherry tomato. I just transitioned this one into the garden about 3 weeks ago, so I'll definitely update you guys as that continues to grow. Next up is my bush beans. This is a tender green variety, and I'm starting to have tons of little buds pop up on this as well, so it won't be long now until I have a bunch of beans to harvest. There is 2 green bean plants in this container, and I'll make sure to do a further update around this in my next garden tour. Next, I'm showing you guys my bell peppers. So I am doing 2 bell peppers and 1 jalapeno pepper. All 3 are doing really well so far, but they are definitely a little bit small. I've been trying to put them in an area that gets a little more sun so they could grow a little bit faster. I find my bell peppers do really well in July and August because of the hot temperature. Next is my banana pepper. I grow this every year, and this is a sweet variety of banana peppers. I couldn't find a hot variety this year in seeds. No flowers or buds yet, but it is a little bit early for my peppers. Next is my Big Bomb pepper. So this one was a total last minute addition to the garden, and I actually bought this one as a transplant, so you can clearly see that it's a lot further along than the ones I started from seed indoors. My Big Bomb pepper has tons of flowers on it, and I actually have a couple little peppers growing. So these are spicy, sort of like a jalapeno, but they're gonna grow to be a little bit fatter and wider, so I'm really excited to try stuffing those. Here is my carrots, so I have a variety of different colors growing in the container if you've been following along. So far I've been able to spot a purple, an orange one, and kind of a darker red. This is the more recent footage that I've taken. And I'm going to show you guys a bit of a close-up. You can see the purple one there. This one almost looks green. I don't know if it's changed color just yet. And I do have a couple orange too. Moving on to leeks. My leeks are doing really well, but they are slow to grow. When I researched how to grow these, as it is my first year growing, I've heard they can take anywhere up to 120 days to grow. And sometimes it can take even up to 150 days. And these ones I would say have been outside not even 60 days. So they're definitely getting a lot thicker, and I do have them in a more shaded area because I don't want them to get too much sun. I'll make sure to update you guys as I plan to do a full video on how to grow leeks in containers, so stay tuned for that coming on my channel. Next I am showing you my bush cucumber, and I did start off with 2 cucumbers in this container, but in the end I ended up pulling one of them and just leaving this one. That is because this variety is called a bush champion, and I found that the other plant was really struggling to grow, and one plant was definitely already taking over the container. Once I pulled the second plant, the first plant completely took off. I have tons of flowers, little cucumbers popping up. I have a lot of male and female flowers, and I'm sure that it won't be long before I have a few cucumbers growing. I make sure to keep an eye out for powdery mildew with my cucumbers, as that has been a common problem growing on my balcony. I'm hoping this year I can get ahead of it, and I've already done a little bit of a spray on a few leaves that I spotted a few spots of mold. Cucumbers are really prone to this, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. Next, I'm showing my turnips, and I have about 8 turnips growing in this container, and so far I have spotted about 4 of them already coming through the soil. This is a purple top white globe turnip. You can see I have a couple purple tops popping out of the soil. And I don't think it'll be long before I start to pluck these few here, and I'll probably transition something else into this container for the rest of the summer. This one here is definitely almost ready for harvest, and you will notice a couple I didn't get any turnips growing, but for the most part this year I had almost all of mine turn into a turnip, which is awesome. In the past I've gotten about 2. Moving on to beets, these are growing really well so far as well. You can start to harvest off the leaves here if you want to use them in different salads while you're waiting for your beets to grow. Again, there's not much growth on these so far. They've been a little slower to grow. Okay, the next thing I'm showing you here is senposai greens. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is an Asian variety of greens, so it's a bit of a mix between a cabbage and a mustard green, which I'm super excited to try out this year. It's also heat tolerant, and it's been doing really well so far in the garden. I have 4 plants in here, and I was a little unsure if I should keep all 4. I plan to pull 1 or 2, but they are all doing really well, really green, and they don't seem to be competing for space really. All the plants are really doing well equally, so I do plan to leave all 4 in this one container. Definitely almost time for a harvest of all those, and I can't wait to try that in a stir fry. Here I'm showing my stackable lettuce container. On the top I have my Little Gem variety of lettuce. This is a romaine variety. It's doing excellent, it's really green, and I can't wait to harvest this for a salad. I have a few on the bottom here that I started from seed, and those ones definitely did suffer a bit. I would definitely recommend to start them indoors and transition them into the container, and that's because you want to be continuously rotating this container. Things are growing in all sides of it, so you definitely need to move it around to make sure everything gets a thorough amount of sunlight and it's even. But as you can see in the latest footage there, I definitely have a lot more growth on the bottom lettuces, and yeah, it's pretty much time to harvest those. Here I am showing my arugula. This is spinach, and in the back I have some more lettuce. This was all grown from seed as well. This was a couple weeks later, and you can see just how fast lettuce and greens will grow. They're really good to have in your container garden. They're super easy to grow, so they're great for beginner gardeners. Just make sure to give them the afternoon shade. You guys may notice here that my rack is actually moved in a little bit of a different spot than normal, and that's just because they were doing some painting on the side of my building, so I did have to move a few things away from that wall, but it will be going back into that same spot once that is done. Here I'm showing my rainbow Swiss chard. This is doing awesome. I've already plucked a few off. As you can see, I pluck on the outer leaves of the Swiss chard and leave the middle grow so that it keeps growing. That's called the cut and come again method. Next up, I'm showing my hanging basket of herbs where I have my basil, rosemary, oregano, parsley, and thyme growing. Then I have a few other standalone herbs that I grow in these smaller containers. So there is the dill and cilantro, and that's so I can move them around to different spots depending on how sunny it is. Next is my chives and some green onion I have growing here. These ones I actually just cut off the green onions I bought in the store and transplanted them into this container. I'm currently working on a video on regrowing some of your veggie scraps, so that will definitely be coming soon on my channel. I've had really good success with the green onions, so I definitely recommend trying that out yourself. And last is my Everbearing Strawberry baskets. These are 2 hanging baskets that I have on the side of my balcony that gets full sun, and both plants are doing awesome. I had a few strawberries already that I harvested earlier, and tons of new flowers and buds popping up on both the plants. This one has a little bit less buds, and this one to the right has a little bit more. I do sometimes pluck a few of the flowers and keep less flowers so that I get bigger strawberries. That's one thing I can recommend, is if you want larger strawberries, make sure to pluck off a few flowers. But if you want a whole bunch that are smaller, then just leave them all. I might try out 2 different pruning techniques on both plants this year and compare them. But both plants are definitely doing great, and I love growing Everbearing strawberries. They will continue to produce throughout the summer. Well, that's it for this garden tour today. I hope if you guys enjoyed this video and liked seeing all my plants and all their updates, that you will leave me a like. Make sure to leave a comment down below and hit that subscribe button. It really does help to support me and my channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in my next one.